So imagine a future where those who are called into pastoral ministry are spiritually nourished and fully equipped. That's Trellis. We exist to help educate, equip, and empower the next generation of church leaders. I want to introduce you to a young woman named Ana Garcia. Ana is from Monterrey, Mexico. About 5 years ago, as a teenager, she felt a call into ministry. But looking at her situation, she had no clue how she would ever get educated or how she would receive experience. Little did she know that in the background, God is already at work. Isn't it awesome how God's always at work? Church out of Kansas City, Kansas, was doing a month-long mission trip to Monterey. A young lady named Mackenzie became friends with Ana. And as Ana started sharing her story about being called into ministry, Mackenzie said, "You've got to check out this program at our church we just started. It's called Trellis. They would pay for your education, give you a place to live, and you get to work on staff while you get your degree." Ana was like, "There's no way that's a reality," and thought that's pretty much not going to happen. But Mackenzie encouraged her, "Please apply." Fast forward to today. Ana is graduating this December with a degree in ministry completely paid for. She's been housed, she's been preaching, she's been teaching. She leads the Hispanic worship at that site. She is fully equipped and ready to go into ministry. Not only is she equipped, she also is now partnered with the leaders of that church and within the region. Many people know her, and she's already been offered multiple opportunities for ministry. This past July, had an opportunity to be a part of a youth conference in Orlando. 5,000 students, teenagers from high school, came together to worship Jesus. And little did they know, Wednesday night, they would be offered an opportunity to experience a calling on their life, to be called out, that God would call them into ministry. We simply said, this is what we believe. We believe that there are those who are called to ministry, and we want to walk alongside of you. How many of you know God is not done calling those who are called into ministry? And so that morning, what we pitched Wednesday night was 7:30 the next morning. If you show up, we will talk to you about how we want to partner with you. How many of you know that for teenagers at a conference, Thursday morning, 7:30 is not a time when they want to be up? 275 students showed up saying, "We feel called into ministry." The question that we have to ask ourselves is, what do we do with them now? As one of the leaders who was on the platform that morning, she looked out at all the students and said, "This scares me. What are we going to do with this many young people feeling called into ministry?" You see, the reality is in the church we have a problem. We all know that more churches are closing than are opening, and there are more leaving ministry than they're entering it. But as I said, I don't believe that God is done calling those into ministry. God already has a plan. You see, for us, we have a solution, and our solution is to help raise up the next generation of leaders through education, mentorship, and financial support. First, let's talk about education. We have partnered with 5 prestigious institutions, all accredited universities and seminaries, and our goal is to help educate those who need to understand theology. As a pastor for over 20 years, I completely understand what it means to take somebody who has a great calling on their life, has a great personality, loves people, but has poor theology. It's not a good experience. So we believe in education, and we want to make sure that our students receive their full undergrad or master's completely paid for through our process. We want to make sure that they're equipped when it comes to in their theology. But we realize it's not just education, it's mentorship. You see, through mentorship is where we realize that this is how we start to recognize, guide, and support those in ministry. Our goal is to grow our network to 100 churches over the next 2 years that have said, yes, I want to mentor someone who's called to ministry. Right now, we have about 28 churches that are in our process that are committed to raising up the next generation of leaders. We believe that every pastor should have a Timothy. Every pastor should be saying, what does my succession plan look like? What does it look like for me to pass the baton? For us, we've started this process by saying, how do we help young people know and affirm their calling in ministry? Through that, we've partnered with 40 Parables and True Wiring to develop assessments specifically for young people. We'll look at their not only things like DISC and motivators and spiritual gifting, we also look at character and financial beliefs. And we really try to put together a whole profile saying, what does it look like for us to help pour into this young person to help shape them into a ministry where they can be successful? We're working with them on developing assessments for when they get hired. How do we help the local church know who they're hiring and who they are so that they can move together forward in ministry successfully? For us in mentorship, it's actually giving an opportunity where a student can not just hear about ministry, but be in the funeral home, be in the hospital, be at the wedding, be in the boardroom, be with the pastor, truly become the mini-me to the one that they're learning to become. We're also committed to what it means to see significant financial support for our students. See, thanks to our partnership with our hub churches, Trellis offers a full-ride scholarship for education. How have we done that? We've worked with our universities and our seminaries to get the cost of education down to where it actually pencils for a church. We've reduced the cost of education down to about $28,000 for an undergrad, $10,000 for a master's. By having an intern or resident at the church for 20 hours a week for 10 months a year, that equates to about $12 an hour to have that student. But instead of that student getting paid, they get a full-ride scholarship. The universities are invested, the church is invested, and the students invested by simply paying the administrative side of Trellis. That's what funds us. So when I look at Trellis and I think of where we're going, our goal is to, like I said, get to 100 churches and 100 students over the next 2 years so that we can hopefully solve the pipeline problem that we have in our churches. For me, I know in my story, I didn't experience this model. I'm 46 years old, and in 3 months, I'll finally be debt-free. Back when I was in my 20s, when I first started ministering at the church where I've ministered for the last 20 years, I was broken, worn out, and scared. The lead pastor looked at the congregation when I came on staff and said, "Your job is to love Cliff into greatness." Wouldn't it be awesome if, as we as church leaders looked at this generation and says, our job is to love you into greatness today? Thank you.